Plumpy Town. Plumpy Town was, we took a video camera and zoomed in on pieces of poop all over the farm and I knew that things had come full circle when I came home for Thanksgiving last year and Peter told me he had changed the words of Gangnam Style into Bond Garden Style and that I would be joining him in a song and dance performance for all our Thanksgiving guests. Now he was bossing me around. So for all of those reasons and more, Peter's wedding day is one of the most important days in my life as well. But enough about Peter, he's always been my brother. Let's move on to the wonderful woman who will soon be my sister-in-law. As many people in this room know, Rachel is not only a talented ballerina, but also an incredible Pilates instructor. It's true, I'm not being facetious. She has taught my family, Peter included, that Pilates, or Rachelites as we like to call it, is for all body types, even inflexible runners. Her patience and adaptability as a teacher says so much about who she is as a person. Really, I highly encourage any of you to ask her to teach you Pilates. You will see a whole new side of Rachel's amazing personality. I'm really not joking here, people are laughing. Okay. Pilates also gave Rachel and me a chance for some one-on-one time a few years ago when we traveled to Kripalu Yoga Institute with my Aunt Nancy in a no Peter weekend. Rachel, I'm still surprised the health food alarms didn't go off when we entered that building with all that hidden candy. I didn't tell her at the time for fear of freaking her out, but it was that weekend, I'm pretty sure it was that weekend, that I decided I really wanted Rachel to be my sister-in-law. Not only did I enjoy rooming together and sharing the high-fiber Western Massachusetts hippie life with her, but it became very clear to me that weekend just how good Rachel is for Peter. He had been dealing with some serious running injuries at the time, and the amount of concern and effort she showed it's almost done. In helping him through the physical and emotional difficulties of that time was so heartwarming. She really loved him, and I really loved that. Peter and Rachel, the reason I'm so thrilled about this wedding, and the reason I feared I couldn't get through this toast without tearing up, that I have so far, is because you two are not only my favorite couple to experience pony attacks with, but on a more serious note, you take such good care of one another. In conversations with Peter about Rachel, and vice versa, because I talk about both of you behind each other's back, his and her top priority in making decisions is that the other member of the couple will be happy. You support one another. Bear with me while I get figurative for a moment. The way a ballerina's shoe protects the most delicate toes, or the way a hiking boot supports an ankle on a particular Rachel, welcome to our family. I'm so thankful for not only everything you bring to Peter's life, but for the friendship I've gained since you two met. And Peter, I love you more than words can say. I'm always here for you if you need a singing partner, whether you like it or not. Let's raise a glass, which I forgot to bring up here. Raise a glass to Peter and Rachel.
Closer.
Almost there.
Yeah.
I am Lindsay. I am Rachel's friend from Mercyhurst. We danced together. She grew up on the South Shore, Massachusetts, and I grew up on the North Shore of Massachusetts. We spent 4 wonderful years at Mercyhurst. We used to do our road trips back and forth with each other. One very memorable moment that I have is when we were heading back to Erie, and a bunch of guys decided to moon us. On our way back to school,
He would lay stuff over my cubicle wall, asking for gum. I would give him gum. And I first heard about Rachel on one of his first dates with her. And he said, I've met the most amazing girl. She was wearing a navy blue dress. Yes. And I was like, well, that's a nice color. I feel like that's a good thing for you.
I remember that date.
Yes. You have a different point of view. So the fun part about all of this is you can hear it from this point of view and my point of view. I got the Peter's point of view and then you got the Rachel's point of view. Anyway, so I heard about this. I heard about the first couple of dates and how beautiful she was and how Rachel was multifaceted. She had this cat that she took in somehow out of his name, Oliver. Yes, everyone knows about Oliver. Bless his heart. I watched him for a weekend. He was insane. He was in my tub drinking water. They had the faucet clean off. That was a thing terrorized by other cat. Anyway, so I heard about, this Rachel person, and she had so much to her. She had like lots of depth. She just had a lot going for her. And then I finally met her, and she was this beautiful person on the outside. And to be fair, I'm going to be honest with you, I typically don't like most women on the first date. I typically am like, listen, you're a woman, and you're pretty and all, but I feel like on the inside, I don't know you yet. And Rachel just blew that away. Rachel is quite possibly the most genuine person I've heard and just known on the inside and the outside. And she's just beautiful, and I love her to bits. She's beautiful all over. And that just became so apparent right away. And I've stolen her from Peter. Peter's not the third wheel on our dates. Rachel and I have gone tubing down various snow-covered mountains with Peter at the top of the mountain. We're on the tube by ourselves. So that's the thing. And I just wish them the best. This will be much more polished for tomorrow. I will be more soft. Thank you. First of all, Ray is here. Hello, that's Ray.
Okay, Ray.
Hello, Ray. Welcome. My name's Leslie, and I did not need to prepare comments, but I feel obligated. I feel inspired because I love these two people so very much. So, if I could not be too emotional, let me tell you, of course I love Peter since I was born. I'm his aunt. But there's a couple stories I'll tell about Peter. When Peter was a little boy, he was really cute. Okay? He grew up really handsome, really cute when he was little. And so my favorite memories are when he was little. He wouldn't understand pronouns. And so he would hold his arms up to you like this. Carry you. And Peter's grown up to be the kind of guy who says to you, may I carry you? If you need help getting up the mountain, Peter will say, carry you, Leslie? And around the same age, Paul will remember this because our dad, who Peter didn't die before Peter got to know very well, loved Peter. Loved Peter. And,
Take a deep breath, Mom.
They spent a lot of time together riding on a tractor at Farm. Hours and hours and hours. I don't think that grass had a chance to I don't get a second because Dad really loved to ride the tractor. And the other thing that we would see them often doing is our dad would hold Peter by the finger. His hands were too small to hold his whole hands, so he would hold by the finger. And Peter and Dad would walk around Pine Cutter Farm, and Peter would point to every dandelion and say, flower. And there wasn't a lot of weed killer back then, so then Peter grew up, and he became this guy who had this unbelievably high lip. I mean, I think 50% of the jokes he told after the age of 13, I still don't get. And then he became Peter Jones. Like, how did that kid become this? I don't know what you're talking about here. Are you telling me you're double majoring in And he's a very, very smart guy, and he's actually a very sensitive guy. There are a few times when, out of the blue, hadn't heard from him once, when I would get a call, or an email actually, most likely, saying, I actually had a bad dream last night. I was like, what do you think this means? I'm a shrink. He calls the answers a shrink. What do you think this means? Very, these are the many moments in my life. Then, Rachel came. Let me tell you about a few moments when I fell in love with Rachel. Jenny's told a lot about the things that we all love about Rachel. Rachel values. When I think about Rachel, I think about the words down to earth. That is the biggest compliment I think you can give somebody. Down to earth. You're beautiful. And you have a soul that you are just so genuine. Christine said it. You're just so down to earth. You can tell the second you meet you. And so I remember a couple of conversations. I'm like, oh, I'm too long. So when one of the first visits down to Washington was when Peter was going through some health stuff. And Peter, I think, was gone running. And Rachel and Kennedy and I were walking. And Rachel, we hadn't known her very long, but she had such insights into Peter, and she was so solidly there for him. So solidly there for him. I fell in love with her right that second. Then there have been a number of other times, but another time that comes to mind was at Assateague. We were camping, being raided by teenage ponies. Story for another time. Right. The next morning, Peter and Rachel had gotten up early to see the sunrise, and they'd had this experience where these baby ponies had come up to Rachel, and Rachel came back. It looked like she'd seen God. And she said to me, I love horses too, so I understand this. She said to me, I found my magic place. This magic place where the ponies come up to you and they touch you. And I understand that. So I am so happy, Peter, for you that you have found Rachel. Rachel, I can tell you, Peter's older. A wonderful man. And I look forward to your lives together. That's all. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Louise!
Okay.
Louise!
Okay. I'm Rachel's aunt, her godmother. I forgot where I was going with this. Unlike Jenny, who had this wonderful thing prepared, if I had known me. But I remember, this will be short, I remember the day Rachel was born. Really, we were so looking forward to see what this child would be, and when her dad called me from the hospital, would not tell me what the child was. Until he spoke to Karen and told her it's a girl. We have Rachel, and it was just such an exciting thing, but so special because she is my godchild. I'm not going to carry on. There's so many things I could say about this wonderful girl, but the only thing I can think of is internet dating. You met him on the internet. Obviously, there's something to be said. Internet dating. I love you so much, and I cannot believe, well, yes, I can't believe that you have met your match with Peter. Love you both.
No, yes. Hold it really close.
I didn't know that we were able to give little talks here, so I'm not prepared. say on a whim. For all of you who don't know, Rachel's younger sister, Patty. I think we're about, 4 years apart? So, as you know, or you don't know, we didn't really get along as children. I always wanted to play with Rachel, and Rachel did not want to play with me. And our cousins Amy and Brett are also culprits to that, shouting me out. Totally, it's in my journals. So, anyway, we didn't have, the most we had in common was our love of animals and horses, and ballet dancing as well. I was a ballet dancer a while ago as well. So anyway, I was in Oregon when she called me one day, I'll never forget it, and she told me about Peter and how she met somebody, and she went on and on about him and how great he was and how much we had in common because he was an outdoorsy person. He climbed mountains, he climbed Mount Rainier multiple times, total outdoorsman, and so I was mildly jealous at the time. I was like, that's not fair. But I was really happy for her because she sounded really happy. And for most of their relationship, I have not been here. I've been in Oregon or Guam or somewhere else. So fortunately, I don't know Peter as closely as I probably should. But based on what Rachel has told me and based on what I've known of him, just being around him, they're really great for each other. They're perfect for each other. I see Rachel, because I've obviously known Rachel all my life, and I see how she is with him and how he is with her, and it's just this kind of unspoken connection, this unspoken, how she is so much calmer and she's more confident and she pursues what she feels that she wants to do. She pursued Pilates and getting that, certification and still dancing, and he supported her every step of the way. Didn't tell her to stop dancing, never told her to stop dancing. And that's really, really important to all of us in our family. So, as well as Peter's extended family, I met Peter's mom. Nashville? No, it was Massachusetts. It was in Boston when we danced for that man. I forgot his name. David. We went to a performance, and Peter's mom and grandmother, yes, was there, and I just thought that was amazing, and they were all so supportive of her and so proud of her and just wanted to be there to see her dance, and that was really, really important and, said a lot. So, although I haven't been around, I'm here now, and it's hard to explain in words, but I just see the connection, I see how you make each other feel, I see how Rachel is with you and how you are with Rachel, and it's just there, and it's right, and I'm very, very happy.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing tonight? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Bill. I'm Rachel's brother, her younger brother by about a year, I would say. A little over a year. She was born in '84, I was born in '85. So,
It was a long year.
great years. Rachel and I, growing up as kids, in the late '80s and through the '90s, we were close, and we played together all the time. Some of my earliest memories of Rachel is the first time I got into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we finally got the action figures, and we played with them. We took them out, we put their weapons together and stuff. And, it was a big thing for us because we both loved the Turtles because they were so cool. I mean, even my 5th birthday, when I finally got the party wagon, which was the turtle van. It was a big deal. It was a big deal when I got that, and Rachel helped me put the stickers on because she was very good at that. We also, even things like playing Super Nintendo together as two-player, creating our own adventures in the living room. We always played together. You know, we argued, of course we fought, we were brother and sister, but we always played together because we were so close in age. Knowing Rachel throughout my whole life, I've always known that she was always a very, very hard worker at everything she did. Ballet, school, everything. When she was a senior in high school, I was a freshman. People knew who I was because of my sister. Because of the impact, the legacy she already left at Fairhaven High School. Because of how academically accomplished she was, and how involved she was. She and I also danced together. We went to New Bedford Ballet. And I never stopped supporting her in her goal to pursue her career when she went off to Mercyhurst and such. And I'll never forget the first day she left for college. You know, she had said goodbye to me with tears in her eyes, you know, because it was a big deal. You know, I think I was just waking up. She stepped into my room, you know, said goodbye to me, and you know, I said, bye, Rachel, you know, and it was a big deal because it was, and she helped me into my adjustment to college because my freshman year of college was very tough, very difficult for me. I went through a lot of emotional distress, and Rachel understood all of that, the changes, what you go through. And what I've known of Rachel throughout her whole life is how she's never given up at everything that she's worked on, and I've always had nonstop, absolute respect for how hard she has worked at everything she has done in her life. And when she finally met Peter, you know, I had heard such wonderful things about him. You know, this guy who would graduate from Tufts University, such a prestigious school, and, you know, he had a job, he, you know, he was a triathlete, he got very involved, and I'll never forget the first time I met him. Rachel and Peter were nice enough to attend my a production of West Side Story that I was in. I was a jet, so, you know. I'll never forget, you know, and I hugged Rachel after the performance, and even Peter gave me a hug. And that's how I knew. I was like, this guy's awesome. He gave me a hug. This is his first time meeting me, and it was totally cool. You know, and I just, from then on, just everything I hear about them, all the visits and such, you know, I loved Peter more and more. And I'll never forget when Rachel gave me the phone call when Peter proposed, and how, you know, how special it was to her, and how happy I was. And I'll never forget my girlfriend was sitting right there, Bianca. I told her that day. We hadn't started dating, but I was just so overwhelmed with joy. I think it was like tech week for our show, and I went up to you and said, my sister's engaged. I was just so happy. I was so happy for her, and she was happy for me because she could see, you know, that connection that I had with Rachel. And knowing Peter, from what I've known, and from meeting his wonderful family, I've known that he is a person that's grown up in a wonderful family that values each other, that has, you know, a wonderful family history of just love. And that's what I see continuing with Rachel and Peter, this, you know, unforgettable love, this love that is bonded there and will never disappear. And I want Rachel and Peter to continue to have that because they continue to inspire me to make better changes about myself. You know, I was 218 at one point. I was 218, and I started losing weight this summer. And I'm now 207. You know, I'm trying to get that, but you know, they're constant how they always live life on the edge. They never stop doing things. They never stop getting involved. They never stop finding adventures. And that's why I just wanted to say to you, Rachel and Peter, continue to find your adventures and live those moments together forever. Thank you.
tray of fame.
Haha, yeah, I guess. I do.
Actually, that's not incredibly rare. I know a lot of mass people that don't know Boston
Do you know Boston well?
very well. I went to college here, and my family is from the area. I've been told I'd be a great tour guide for Japanese tourists. I know. I'm digging myself a huge hole. But what can I say? It's all true.
Huh. Alrighty. I have to get ready to hit the hay. I'm glad we finally got to talk beyond our emails. And hopefully at this point you don't think I'm a nut and still want to hang out.
Same here. Good to talk to you too, Rachel. And yes, definitely, I love nuts. Okay, back to my
I see what you did there. I'll be scarce for a few days as I bust my butt for my show. But hopefully I will get to talk to you soon. If not online, here is my number. 5,085,200,530. Don't be shy.
Yes, I got her phone number. Do you want one so you know who is calling? Or do you want to be surprised?
Sure. I'll take your number so I know it is okay to answer it.
6,156,931.
Okay, I got to disengage myself from everyone that suddenly instant messaged me.
Okay, sleep well. And good luck with your show practice.
Thanks.